2, I call the member for Fraser.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. The issue of movements from welfare into work is one that has long concerned me. It was the reason that I chose about 12 years ago to study overseas, researching on the topic of poverty and inequality, looking at the issue of how to move people from welfare into work, the relative effectiveness of, say, things such as government jobs, wage subsidies and training programs. It is important that we make that transition from welfare into work as straightforward as possible, particularly for families with children. We know that there are intergenerational cycles of joblessness, and we know that high-quality programs that increase employment are at the core of a civilised society. The Henry Review, in approaching the issue of income support payments, wrote of the iron triangle of means testing. That triangle was payment adequacy, program affordability and the incentive for self-support. And in the Henry Review there was a great deal of attention given to the effective marginal tax rates faced by income support recipients. It was an issue that Labor focused on a great deal while in opposition. I know that the Treasurer and the Minister for Families spent many years focusing on the issue of high effective marginal tax rates, and thanks to much of the advocacy from Labor in opposition, those effective marginal tax rates have been decreased. But we're here today debating the appropriate level of the Newstart allowance. I don't think any of us in this House argue that the current level of Newstart is generous, but the Henry Review argued that there ought to be a difference between levels of pensions and levels of what they called participation payments, of which Newstart is one. The Henry Review argued for restructuring income support into three categories: pension category, a participation category and a student category. It argued that pensions would be paid at the highest rate in recognition that people eligible for them are likely to rely on them fully for a long time. Participation payments would be paid at a lower rate to maintain incentives to work, the Henry Review argued. The Henry Review argued, though, that while there ought to be a difference between the level of those payments, that the issue of the same indexation levels ought to apply to all three sets of payments. The challenge for those of us in considering a question like the level of Newstart payments is twofold. The first is that, as I read it, the bulk of the evidence suggests that higher unemployment benefits have the effect of decreasing transitions from income support into work. That effect isn't as large as some have claimed. There are certainly theoretical reasons where you might think it could go the other way. For example, if someone is having difficulty affording the costs of work. But the bulk of the economic evidence, and I tend to go where the evidence tells me, papers such as Peter Fredrickson's paper, the work of Sir Tony Atkinson, seems to go in that direction. At the same time, we know that while we would like the Newstart payment to be a temporary payment, a significant number of Australians are on the Newstart payment for long periods of time. The Henry Review reported, I think it was around a third of Newstart recipients have been on the payment for over a year, and so that issue of adequacy is a large challenge. If we had substantially more money in the budget, I would see no reason to oppose this measure. I would ideally like to be in a position in which we had the waves of tax revenue that were flooding into this country in mining boom Mark I. But we're not in that situation at the moment, Deputy Speaker, and so worthy measures such as this one sometimes don't get supported.